well formed or articulated, but I was watching your video about where you talked about a split between perceiver and doer, and that being a sort of illusion. How does like a sense of control or autonomy sort of fit into that? Because I always get a sense of the more I sort of feel like I'm letting go, the more I actually feel like I'm in control. And then, so it sort of feels like a paradox, and I spend a lot of time trying to let go of something, but it's actually like I'm fighting a sense of control. And when the control comes up, it almost feels like letting go as well. And I feel like it always feels, I can't kind of relate it to a lot of the messages that I hear. And I think I heard about you through an article you wrote about Tony Parsons and this sort of like thing of there's no self. And I preferred the way that I heard you. It sort of resonated more the way I heard you describe that in that video. But there's something about control and sense of control and autonomy that never, everything I hear, it never makes sense. Yet when I feel it, it does. Does that make?
Yeah, what we can do with that. What's your name and where are you calling from? Just out of interest.
Matt from Bristol.
Matt from Bristol. Welcome. Good to have you. So Matt, I think one part of your question is the more I let go, paradoxically, the more I feel in control. That's what you were saying.
Yeah.
Can we just explore that a second? Because I think it'll be useful. The more you let go, are you actually more in control? The more you let go, objectively speaking.
I don't know. I sort of think if I overthink it, that's almost the problem. And then when there's this sense of something happening, it's like, oh, I'm fighting a sense of what feels like a sort of almost sense of having more control, but I feel like I'm letting go. So it's sort of like I don't know how to answer that. I guess it feels. I don't know. It's sort of all felt. So
it might feel like you're in more control, right? When you let go. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's certainly like, this is what I'm almost actively fighting against. Yeah, when it comes up, I'm like, why am I fighting against this? Why am I fighting against this? Because this feels, more control. Maybe is the wrong word, but just more connected. Or
yes. You see, because letting go means letting go of control. That's what letting go. That's one way of looking at what letting go is.
And I think that almost epitomizes the then mind lock I get into, where I'm trying to avoid, like a sense of connection. I'm trying to avoid a sense of connection that when it comes up, I'm like, why on earth am I trying to avoid this?
Yeah, it's a bit like, not wanting to go to the gym. But when you're there and you're doing your workout, or it might not be the gym, it might be, you can substitute something else in there. It might be like, not wanting to go for a run. But when you're there, it's like, this feels really good. I'm really enjoying this. But, when you're sitting at home and there's the lure of the television and the crisps and the soft drinks or something, again, you can substitute your own temptations in there if they're not tempting you at all. It's a bit like that. This is what it's like to abide as the self. When you're not abiding as the self, the ego resists it. But when you're relaxed and you've let go, it's wonderful. But the mind doesn't want to do that.
So how it's this sort of thing about choice to act, I guess, and choice to do. I know, which obviously links with a sense of control, that I can choose to do something. I often think, if let's say singing as an example, like you can use lots of different parts of your body when you're singing. You can make the choice to be like, I'm going to engage that, I'm going to do this.
Did you say swimming?
So is that singing, just because it's a very sort of connected activity, singing.
Okay.
Yeah. you can choose to engage different parts of your body and do things differently, and it's like you're actively choosing to do that, but it's also, to do it properly, you have to have a sense of ease and letting go, which is why I think it's quite a good activity to sort of describe in relation to this.
It's true with all kind of physical performance. You need a certain amount of skill, practice, determination, but then if you're performing on the night, as it were, whether you're singing or whether you're in the Wimbledon final and it's tennis, there needs to be an element of where you're relaxed and allowing your skill set to flow.
Flow, that's like a buzzword at the moment. I think lots of people talk about you in this state of flow, where it's sort of, you've got the right level of challenge and skill and it's all just happening. And I think that's a good example where it's like, I still feel like I'm doing in that moment, but at the same time I'm like, it is just kind of, I'm letting go into the doing. So that's where I sort of, oh God, sorry, it's really hard to kind of describe it. It all feels so abstract. And
you're doing great, Matt. You're doing great.
I feel like it sort of epitomizes a kind of battle with trying to let go while still having a sense of doing. So I sort of thought it was interesting, this contrast between perceiving and doing, because flow, that sort of sense of flow, is they could sort of merge, but I still feel like I'm making choices about what I'm doing. But am I? I don't know.
So we don't have to worry about the answer to that question. Do I have free will? Am I making choices? The mind might want to know the answer. The mind might think, oh, if I know the answer to that question, that's going to be amazing for me in some way. That's going to improve my situation in some way. But we don't have to worry about the answer to that question. We can let go of that. You'll realize that the answer to that question won't actually get you anywhere. The mind wants to have knowledge, wants to understand. But when it comes to spirituality, we're talking about being happy. More than being just normally happy, which can come and go, but happiness beyond happiness, that peace beyond peace. So we can let these mind questions, let them come, let the mind ask questions. It will struggle to know certain things. It will be confused about other things. At times it will think, I've got it. I've figured it out. Eureka, I have it. And other times it will be, oh gosh, what's going on? I have no clue. I have no clue what's going on. And sometimes it might try to be clever, I know that I don't know. And, it will do all sorts of things. We don't have to worry about that too much. Let the question come. You can let it sit with you for a while. If an answer comes to you, wonderful. If it doesn't, it doesn't. There's a deeper teaching beyond all of this stuff. And maybe you get a sense of that today, if you haven't already. All these mind questions. There's a deeper teaching. There's a deeper pointing. It's beyond the mind. The mind, it's not something the mind will get. It's something you've already got. So what happens, and I'm just speaking more widely to the group as well, is that when we relax, when we let go, we do feel more connected. And ironically, that feeling of connection is happiness. And when you feel in control, what that really means is that makes you feel happy. So when we let go, we're in less control. We've let go. As the ego has less control because you've let go, but it feels happier. So that can be interpreted as I feel in control. Whereas really what it is, you're coming back into your connectedness. The problem is, it's always the same problem. The problem is that you still haven't got rid of ignorance. Ignorance is the idea I'm the body mind. So this notion I'm the body mind still is there. When you let go, you've momentarily let go of that. But the belief is still there, in latent form, in dormant form, ready to sprout. Then it sprouts up again. Oh, I need to do this. Otherwise something bad's going to happen. Oh, there's a challenge. I need to do that. I need to meet that challenge. You know? So all the questions come up from this belief, I'm the body mind. So this is why when you let go, if you're not tackling that root belief, ignorance, I'm the body mind, all these questions sprout up again. Life comes back and challenges you, and you say, oh, I'm a body mind, I need to do something now. And so the confusion, the decisions you have to make come back again. Whereas if you have faith in the teachings, in Ramana's teachings, if you have faith in these eternal teachings that say you're not the body mind, you're that pure consciousness, which is beyond the body mind, then you, when this, oh no, I've got to do something, and you get entangled in the challenges of life, you can sort of, in a way, sit back. You can sit back and say, well, that's not me. You can allow these things to happen. You can allow the panic or the confusion or the uncertainty to arise. Let it arise. Let it all come your way. All the philosophical questions, am I the doer? Am I the perceiver? What am? That's all for the mind. And then there's the depth of being. There's the depth of being that you are. It's always there. It's always there, waiting patiently. When you come back to it, you feel good. You feel happy. You feel connected. You feel in control. Because you're abiding as the infinite, eternal, unchangeable you. So you're coming into contact with your divinity. Your inner knowing. The teaching always brings us back to that. Always brings us back to that which we are. The problems always arise from a wrong identity. The thought, the belief, the thought belief, I'm the body mind. And from that vantage point of ignorance, from that vantage point, which is from the vantage point of the belief, I'm the body mind, all the questions come, all the confusions come. And the teaching goes deeper still. It says, the teaching says there is a method. It's a unique, curious method, unlike any other method that you can apply to discover this for yourself. You apply this method, the ignorance will go. Just as there was a mechanism by which ignorance arose, There's a mechanism by which ignorance can disappear. Matt, was that helpful at all for you? Or something for you to ponder on?
It's definitely something to ponder on. I think I ended with a question that was quite kind of like, very much psychological kind of basis, do I have free, am I making those choices? But I suppose when all that falls away, it's more just I suppose I was talking more about a direct experience of something. The question was kind of something that comes in afterwards, I guess, but a direct sense of, I guess, it's sort of various teachings and things can tangle you in knots and various phrases and things that people say, and it's that like when there's a letting go of some of that, it's like the actual, some of the things that people say are pushing me, are pulling you further away from a sense of connection, or the way my mind is interpreting them. And therefore when there's that kind of letting go and this connection arises, I'm like, this is almost the opposite of what I imagined should be the case based on what I'm hearing described. And then I sort of go, so are any of these teachings in any way helpful at all? And actually it's more just about what you feel and experience.
Yeah. So if that's happening, yeah, I would definitely say let go of the teachings, go back to the sense of connection. Definitely. There are kind of two parts of the teaching. One is to let go, relax, feel connected. And the other part is don't believe you're a body, mind entity. Now, you often, at any one point in our journey, one of those will speak out louder to us than the other. But for most people, especially if they're listening to kind of non-duality, which can be a bit cerebral, for most people, it's just relax. Just relax, let go, come back to that connected feeling. That's such a powerful practice. So yeah, just carry on. I think especially if you're getting caught up in all these, there are 101 different teachings, sometimes from the same teacher, and they all sound different at different times. So yeah, I would definitely say to you, Matt, just come back to that sense of connection. Do it for a while, see how it goes.
I think that thing you said, it sounding different at different times. That's the thing. If you're identifying in different ways with your parts of yourself, the same message will feel different at different times as well. So
you can hear it differently at different times. Yes. I think there's a lot to just be coming back to that sense of connectedness, because that's, if you listen to your own inner voice, your own inner teacher, that's what it will tell you to do. Or I think anyway, I sense that's what it will tell you to do. If you ask your own self, what should I do? It will say, come back to that connectedness. In some kind of way, it'll tell you to do that. And it's what your heart wants. But then if you're hearing this teaching or that teaching, it's making you feel, oh, no, I'm losing my way. No, because I need to do what this teacher says or that teaching says. No, it's very simple, just to relax and be. It's very powerful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good to meet you. Good to see you.